So usually on Instagram and YouTube you see this. What you don't see is the whole picture.
Now I need to pick more.
Yes.
Mommy, why do we all that?
It used to be that when we raised turkeys and free ranged them, they ended up being more economical than buying organic pastured turkey at the co-op. However, when we ran the numbers, we found our costs were over $1,000. We need to put the poultry netting across the driveway so they can't go up. Otherwise, they'll forage and gather in my garden next. One of the first mistakes was that our turkeys ate a whole entire season's worth of raspberries in one day. There goes our raspberry jam for the year. So I didn't have time to process these tomatoes during the summer. I was too busy, so I froze them as I harvested them. I didn't get them all at once, so this made it easy to get a large batch. And I just froze them in gallon Ziploc bags. And now Bella and I are going to food mill them to get the seeds and skin off, since those have the most phytochemicals that are anti-nutrients. So they upset our stomachs. And so she is running the food mill. Do you want me to do that while you turn the handle, or do you want me to turn the handle?
I want you to turn the handle.
Okay.
But I want to do this.
Okay, I'm going to make sure I'm going the right way.
You are?
I think it's because everything's frozen, Bella. We're going to have to wait. The tomatoes are still frozen, so we're going to roast them in the oven to warm them up. So let's not do it anymore just because I don't want to break it. So we'll just leave it here. It's all set up, and we'll come back in a little bit and finish this.
Let me play
You want to play?
in my room.
This poor stool. What are we playing in your room? Are your curtains open?
They are open. Let's just turn on the light just in case.
Okay.
Let's move the ladder. We have more room.
Yeah, let's move the ladder.
Just for more room.
So the great tomato water bath or pressure can debate and adding lemon juice or a acidifier to your tomato paste. I absolutely cannot even eat tomato paste that has lemon juice or citric acid added to it. It just upsets my stomach. So on top of testing, I still pressure can. Don't mind the mess. We've been pressure canning and processing the turkey rib cage and spine. So I still pressure can because I'm OCD like that and want to make sure everything's safe. But I also test it. This little meter I got on Amazon, it is actually really informational. I've really enjoyed learning about testing pH. I use it also for my pickling to make sure my brine is perfect and it's safe. And I like to do this because knowledge is power, and when you understand and feel secure, you feel safe eating it and feeding it to your family, feeding food that you make. Okay, back to the turkeys, you guys. The cheapest I could find turkeys for was on Tractor Supply's website. They had free shipping and you got 10 for roughly $80. Now, turkeys, unlike other poultry such as geese and ducks, need to stay under a brooder with heat for about 2 months. The cost for electricity for a month is roughly here about $20, so multiply that by 2. This is not counting any housing materials, labor, or time, just so you guys know. This is just the basics that assumes that your time is free and you already have a place to house them. Turkeys need a 30% starter feed, 30% protein. Now, I could not find that in organic, a 30%. They only had game bird that was a 30%, but that wasn't available in organic. And if we were going to raise our own, we wanted to do it organically. So organic Chick starter is in 35-pound bags. That is tiny. So in order to get the percentage of protein to 30% where it needed to be for turkeys, we had to buy fish meal to add to their feed. That was an additional $150 where we ended up purchasing it. And we had to continue to buy chick starter, which was the highest percentage protein feed that we could get in organic. This chart shows that turkeys eat about 75 pounds of feed to reach butcher size. Found this chart to be more accurate. Tom's about 120 pounds of feed till butcher. There is going to be some feed waste and loss, so you will need to have some margin of error on there. Our 10 turkeys ate approximately 1,200 pounds of organic chick starter in the 24 weeks that we had them. Despite free ranging and being pastured, our turkeys weren't here during our apple season. We butchered in September, so next year if we plan on raising turkeys, we're going to plan it so that way they can forage for apples and not just our raspberries in our garden. That will help reduce feed costs. Turkeys can and do forage for a percentage of their feed, but it's definitely not the 30% feed savings I was expecting from everything I read online. So some people say one bad day. I don't believe on that. They don't even have a bad day. We don't bleed our poultry in a killing cone like that one. We've used it, obviously, since we have one. But I find using a machete so there's no chance of missing and beheading them instantaneously. Anyway, a painless death because I sever the brain immediately. And I just hang them then to bleed out. I find that quite a bit more labor intensive. It requires 2 people. So one person to hold the bird and support them in a comfortable hold for them, and then one person to chop their head off. Decapitate? Yeah, I don't know of a nicer term, but to behead them. Hey, don't do that. Leave my flowers alone. They're barely hanging on. It's October. And those are the last petunias. I'm going to try to overwinter all my petunias this year. So up until the moment that they... what? I'm trying to talk to somebody. Please? Maybe they've never done this and it's stressful. And they're trying to decide if they should slit the throat or chop their head off. I wouldn't use a hatchet like you see in the old farmer's wife goes out with a axe and chops the head off. A machete gives you a lot longer blade length and you're less likely to not be successful, especially if it's a larger poultry like a turkey. You have more chopping power than an axe. It's wider. The trick is not to drop your phone in the scalder while you're recording. I'm adding Dawn dish soap to help break the oils and the feathers of the waterfowl so that way they're easier to pluck and for the water to penetrate and the feathers to loosen, 'cause sometimes that's a problem. So this is a trick that often helps. So let's see if I can do this while recording. So you take a paper feed bag and you cut the end of it off. Then you cut it down the side, and then you fold the first layer. There's usually 3. So there's 3 layers. 1, 2, 3. You fold the first layer that touches the feed and it can be dusty. And I save that for starting fires. And no, this is not easy to do with one hand. Especially since my hands are freezing from scrubbing things. So, without the wind blowing it away, you take the first layer and you save that for starting fires. And then you've got a double layer of clean paper for processing on. And then you can fold them up and compost them as needed. I used to use cardboard, and I still do, but this is a lot easier to fold up with feathers in it or guts in it and compost it because it breaks down fast. Hi, Tink. But anyway, here's the setup. I have 2 plastic containers for livers and hearts, sharp knives, a bowl, and lots of prepared paper for butchering. I like to use gloves, some people don't. Your favorite dish soap or cleaning solution, and that's ionized water. I'm not affiliated and I'm not going to show the brand, but ionized water, you'll have to Google it. It's a really good way to sanitize things like that ice barrel. We're going to put ice, water, and salt in there and ice them and pre-chill them. Then drip dry them on a stainless steel shelf before we pop them in the cooler, the walk-in cooler, and I'll show you guys that in a minute. And Tink is trying to kill me because I'm recording and she wants me to throw her ball. So that's what we're going to go do. Where's your actual tennis ball? Huh? Because she gets jealous if I talk to any animals besides her. And hopefully we won't need this canopy. But if it rains, that was my toe. She's like, yeah, exactly. Okay, I'll shut up now. So was it worth it? Maybe not in cost, but we learned a lot, and the security is priceless. What a mess to clean up. And that's rental equipment, so that has to be detailed. And then those buckets, I need to dig a hole in a garden bed. But we're done.